everybody? Welcome back to Felons and Friends. I'm your host, Always Am, and today I have a very special guest with me. He is from my home side of town. Well, his home side of town, from his side of town. Former NBA basketball player and now judge, attorney also as well, Mr. Judge Joe Stevens.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. Nice little setup. I'm very proud of you, alumni.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So a little bit about your background, I guess, getting into being a judge. Are you still currently
I'm currently the only African-American judge, male in Harris County at this level court, Justice of the Peace. I serve Precinct 3, which is east of downtown. And, we've had other African-American, Al Green, who's now Congressman Al Green, served in this role as well. Jeremy Brown, but there's only been a few of us. But now out of the 16 that are sitting, I'm the only African-American male.
Okay. Yeah. And that's amazing. That's an amazing thing.
It is.
It's not much representation of us in the justice system on the side that you're on. Mm-hmm. It's a big thing. So I'm glad that, you've decided to, go on with that goal and be in that role and then to be in it so well.
Thank you so much. So that's why I ran. All right. You can take two sides. You can complain or you can get involved in the fight.
Yeah.
And so I decided to get involved. I watched my predecessor, Judge Parrott, who did a great job. In his time, going into my time, our community's done a complete 180, right?
Yeah.
It used to be a majority, the minority used to be the minority, right? The African Americans, but now we're a majority minority community. And part of me running was I felt like, I was in tune with our community and the needs that we had. He was ready to retire. And so I said, let me, go ahead and kind of start making the right steps towards trying to pursue that. And at the time, it was a job that really worked with kids a lot. Mm-hmm. And you can catch them at this level court and impart some wisdom on them. I do it all the time, even to this day. I bring them back in my office and just say, hey, man, you got some decisions to make. Yeah. Once you start getting in the judicial system downtown, the district courts, the criminal courts, the felony courts, not a lot I can do to help you.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like this level court. I call it the people's court, mm-hmm. where you can really make an impact, some change, and help some people get on the right path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a big thing. That's why I started this podcast, just to be able to hopefully give someone insight to what it is that I'm going through. That way they don't have to go through what I did. I already did it. So, why would you, continue on that path?
We have a tendency as a society to try to cast people aside because they made mistakes.
Yeah.
Or invalidate their opinions or their voice because they made a mistake. But all of us are fallible.
Yeah.
Judges.
Absolutely.
Presidential candidates.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I think as a society, we should all come down off your high horse, come down off your bench, try to have some empathy first and foremost, and lead with empathy and not ego, right?
Absolutely.
And I always say I'm a judge, but I don't judge.
Yeah.
Right. People are going through real life situations. A lot of times we don't know how people were raised or the challenges they had, right? We're all products of our environment.
Absolutely.
And so, and I'm still a work in progress, right? Yeah. I'm still learning. I think since I became a judge, I listen a lot better. My wife would probably say different, but I truly try to listen to people, right? Because I think what happens sometimes, especially in the judiciary, the job can be mundane at times. You hear the same kind of stuff every day, at least at my level court. Mm-hmm. But I always try to not look at it as this is just case number 00562. I try to look at it as these are two people with real issues. This is their real lives when they leave here.
Yeah.
And these decisions have consequences.
Yeah.
So I pray for discernment and empathy every day.
Absolutely. That's a big thing too, to be able to still be in check with reality. Of course, you have to go by the law because it is the law. And if, everybody can just break the law, then It'd be the Wild West, man.
Well, it kind of is the Wild West. We are in Texas.
Yeah, you know.
But at the end of the day, no, I get exactly what you're saying because it's, but if there's any way within the confines of the law I can help someone, right, that deserves it, I will. And if nothing else, I try to, especially like tomorrow, I'll have evictions tomorrow, right? And I really, I don't want to say I dislike doing them, but of course, you're putting somebody out of their house.
Yeah.
Right? But I try to educate them. Here's where you made a mistake, right? You can't, the next time the landlord doesn't fix your sink, don't withhold your rent.
Yeah.
Because that was an $80 fix for the sink and you tried to withhold $1,800 in rent.
Yeah.
Can't do it because the laws in Texas are very landlord friendly. You basically gave the landlord all the power to evict you, right?
Yeah.
Because
you withheld it.
Yeah, you withheld it. And then that's the breach of contract happened on your end. But going forward, you can get a clause in your lease agreement when you get your next place that allows you to notify the landlord of the remedy.
Yeah.
If they don't fix it within 28 hours, 24 hours, you can then fix it on your own, notify the landlord you fixed it, provide the receipt, and deduct it from your next month's rent. That is something you can put in your lease agreement. So people are like, kind of like, what? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So now, you've been educated and now the next time, hopefully you'll, make a decision that won't put you in a position to get evicted. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So you can fix it yourself and get your rent,
Correct. But you got to put it in writing. Just make sure you put it in your lease agreement up front.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's called repair and remedy. Yeah.
Y'all keep that in mind. So how did, I know that you used to play in the NBA, you played for the Rockets, right? Mm-hmm. How did, growing up with sports, how did that help you get to where you are now?
I think, playing sports really teaches you the value of, one, discipline, right? Mm-hmm. Competing, accountability, right?
That's a big
because
one.
It's a team sport, right?
Yeah.
If I threw a bad pass, most of the time guys will say, my bad. You know what I mean? That's accountability, which we don't have a lot of in society. Some people make mistakes and they don't admit to their mistakes and they make wrong decisions and we see it at the highest level.
We want to pass it off.
I'm not going to get too political, but I hate the fact that we watch presidential candidates and politicians in general that never say my bad.
Yeah.
I'm above making mistakes. So when I do make a mistake, I deflect or I tell a bold outright lie about what happened, right? So I think sports teaches you that. And it teaches you also that there are goals that are bigger than your individual goals. There's a team goal here.
Yeah.
So I think when you see, a lot of times you see athletes really assimilate well when they can figure it out after the sports into society because they understand teamwork. They understand how to work with other people. They understand accountability. They understand hard work. So that's what sports did for me. It taught me, if you get up early and stay late, it leads to success. Ran into a guy. I went to the University of Colorado first, got a full ride scholarship where Dion is now.
Okay.
And I transferred to Arkansas Little Rock, a smaller school.
Yeah.
But my point guard was Derek Fisher, a longtime Los Angeles Laker. And I really learned how to work hard at Little Rock, watching him go hard, right? Couldn't beat him to the gym, couldn't stay later than he could, right? And if I could go back and do it all over, I would have done everything he did. There wouldn't have been a time he was in a gym that I wasn't there. Yeah. And I'm 51 years old now. He's probably 100 million to the good. I made some good money playing basketball, but not what he did. And I always wonder in that extra hour he put in a day. Yeah. Was that the difference in where we ended up now, right? Yeah. And, I caution kids, you don't want to live with that kind of regret or that kind of wonder. Yeah. So put the work in now. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah. It's like I'm having a conversation now with my younger brother where he's playing football. And it's like, to tell people, hey, if you get the opportunity, you're in school, if they're paying for school, use it to its full advantage. Yeah. Get the degree in engineering. Go for something, if it's being paid for, you're going to pay for a degree regardless.
You're going to pay for it. So then it wasn't until I paid for law school that I realized like the advantage, you know, because I was like a B student maybe, a couple of C's here and there when I was in undergrad, but somebody was paying for my school.
Yeah.
Well, I was an A student in law school because I paid for that out of my pocket, and my master's degree, I paid for that. So I was very in tune. I was on the front row, you know, when I was paying for it. I was on the back row when they were paying for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would tell, especially athletes, guys that are having their education paid for. My daughter, who's on a full ride scholarship, max it out.
Yeah.
Max it out. A lot of those guys have dreams of playing professional sports after it's over with. But they're playing video games all night long. They're not taking care of their bodies. They're not first to practice. I can tell within 20 minutes of being around somebody if they're going to be a professional or not, just by the way they work.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Absolutely. And when I was in school, my whole down spiral started when I lost playing golf in college. That's when everything was kind of like, okay, like it's already kind of bad and now it's just getting worse.
Yeah.
And for me to have, for golf, it was a developed passion. It was something where I saw like, okay, I would be called up to the tee box and they're like, we're looking for Amber. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. And they're like, you're not Amber. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I am. You know, in the sport, and it happens so often.
Still happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter's an African-American golfer and
it's crazy.
we go to tournaments, even college tournaments, right? You're in college tournament with 16 other college teams, and she's the only Black person in the field.
Wow.
In 2024. Yeah. Right? You know, I would say to your point, idle mind is the devil's workshop, right? Yeah. And I think golf probably filled in whatever void you had time-wise.
Absolutely.
So you're around people with common interests. This is stuff I talk to kids about all the time in terms of just, you know, make the most of your time. We only got so much time here on earth. All of us have an expiration date. None of us know when that's coming. So just, try to be as productive.
Golf was my peacetime.
Do you still play?
That I do.
Okay, cool.
That
What do you
I
play?
hadn't played like in a month or so because I got my
you got
nails.
your nails and all that? Yeah.
If I'm a pink
but
girl.
But you can still play with nails.
Yeah, but then it throws off the game. Then I got to give somebody $5 a hole.
You're supposed to hold a club like a baby bird anyway. So yeah, the nails may actually help your golf game.
I don't know, man. Last time I played with these, it was like, I ain't doing this no more. So I took a little break for a month or so. But I play out River Terrace, Golf Club of Houston. Okay. I'm out there more often.
Fantastic.
Just knocking the ball around.
I like it.
But it's a peaceful sport for myself, pastime wise. It's nothing but me and my mess ups. If I mess up, it's on me. I can't blame anybody else. Yep. I have to do the work.
And you got to count all your strokes, even the ones you don't like.
You know? Use a hand wedge every now and again.
Yeah, a little foot wedge.
Yeah, that's it. So another question for you. What is the most impactful case that you've handled that had just the most impact on yourself?
Had a kid. He was, I put him on probation. Because he was hanging out at the gas station on Uvalde every night. His mom worked at Walmart. She stocked groceries. And he would hang out, right? No male father figure in his life. Put him on a curfew. He kind of came back a few weeks later, broke curfew. And the mom was doing everything she can to try to help the kid. He came back the second time with his stepdad, attitude. And you can tell some kids, when you talk to them, they're not looking at you, they're looking through you.
Yeah.
And nothing I'm telling them is registering. I'm showing them pictures from my high school classmates. Some have gone to jail. Some have ended up dead. Some have done fed time. Just everything I could throw at them. That, man, look, you're making some terrible decisions that could really impact your life. And about a month after the second time I met with him, I heard he got shot in the head on Uvalde.
Oh, wow.
And that one kind of stuck with me because you live with, is there anything else I could have done? You know what I mean? Is there anything else I could have said? And probably not. Another one was really my first time doing an eviction case where I actually evicted a lady from her house. And I still got the Facebook message she sent me after she found me on Facebook and said, look, I voted for you. I didn't know where you ended up. And even though you evicted me today, I was able to walk out of court with my head high.
Yeah.
Because you gave me some great advice. Now I know what not to do going forward. And I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a case of putting someone, and I'm not putting you out, the landlord puts you out.
Yeah.
I'm only, calling balls and strikes and following the law.
Yeah.
But best case scenario is for somebody to be thankful that you educated them. So the next time, if they ever face that situation again, they'll know what to do or what not to do. So,
yeah.
I would say those two.
That's a big thing. Those are big things.
Yeah.
But to be able to still, impact someone positively, even though it's not, the answer that they're looking for, it does make a difference. For myself, this last case, I've been on probation. I've been dealing with this. My last DUI was in 2020. And when I went to jail for it, I came out, I had an ankle monitor. Mm-hmm. But the ankle monitor was like, oh my God, like my mom wouldn't go out in public with me if it was showing.
Oh, man.
I had to wear sweatpants, jeans. She's like, no, you're not going to Kroger's. Like, you gotta put on some sweatpants. So I'm like, okay, in the summertime, like sweatpants in the summertime. I was going through it. And to have to suffer through that, it really showed me just the importance of, the different things it is that I'm putting in my body. Ingesting alcohol in that capacity, it's unacceptable. Like you put alcohol to clean up wounds, yet you're ingesting it.
Yeah.
So just, learning those different things about it, having to, deal with those consequences of seeing how it affected my family. I come from a 2-parent home. So I have a decent upbringing where my parents, they worked everything out. There wasn't any strife to my knowledge that was just, so detrimental to where they had to, separate or, involve the laws in their marital situation. Mm-hmm. But I had a pretty decent upbringing. And to see that, regardless of, however you were raised and stuff, that this was the outcome that I decided to choose, whether it was me acting out because I didn't feel, loved, even though I was raised around it, or, just, I have everything, so why can't I have this one bad thing,
Right.
Things like that. But just to be able to recognize that. And when I told the judge who was over my case at the time, he was like, what are you doing? Like, you have the world right here with you. Your parents, they're trying to give you what's best, and you're just pissing it off in the wind. Just because. Yeah. So for him to be able to acknowledge that, it was like, okay, he sees something that I clearly don't see. And it took me, I had a malfunction with my device. And I sprayed air freshener. The chemicals in it set it off. I can only try to justify it so much. My lawyer's like, no, they're not going to go for that. You have a background in alcohol. You're an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. So they're not hearing it. And the whole time I'm like, dude, like I'm at work. Like soon as it happened, I felt the monitor go off. I went inside, clocked into work, came back, blew in my device. I had a device in my car. Still got it in Toxalock. So dangerous. But I ended up, doing everything that I tried to do to cover myself. And when my lawyer told me, they're not hearing that. They're not going to go for that. My parents, I told my dad about it, and he's like, okay, you have to go to rehab. That's the only way to save you at this point, for them to just come and pick you up from the house, take you into custody. You're going to have to go to rehab. So went into rehab, and like I told you, previously, those first 4 days of me being there, that was the best help that I've had from me dealing with this issue since 2017. Like, I got the help that I needed finally. Right. In those, over those years, I got it in 4 days. Wow. And to be able to see that impact, he's like, when I went to court again, he's like, Miss Hill, you tried to run away from your mistakes, You're in rehab, whatever.
Which is understandable, right? Yeah. Like, none of us, when we make mistakes, really want to fess up. When we mess up, right? It's hard. It's difficult.
Absolutely.
And that's all a part of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's and the thing about life is none of us are above it, right?
Yeah,
none of us, when you get caught doing something, whatever it is you've done, the first thing you want to do is deny it. Yeah. Because you actually have to face these demons of what I've actually done.
Yeah.
So, and there's not a human above it. And so when you realize that and you go through life, the only thing all of us are trying to do is be better people every day. Right?
Yeah,
And that's all we can all strive for. So it's looks like you're on a great path.
That's trying to instill just, some guidance and positivity. Despite me having a felony conviction, will be a college graduate.
Fantastic.
Will have my degree in communications, minor in sociology.
Great. And a hell of a testimony.
Yeah, to be able to still, have hope in utilizing that degree where, yes, I was in college. Yes, I messed up several times. I got the help that I needed. I understand it. And there's someone out there that might be going through the same thing, or where I can prevent them from going through that. A lot of people, some people have to go through it. Me, I had to put my hand on the stove and figure it out for myself.
The beautiful part about it is there are people that make these mistakes at 60.
Yeah.
You made them when you were young. So when you're 60, you'll look back at this and be like, that was a little blip in the matrix. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had a little speed bump in my early 20s, my mid 20s, and I got past it and I had to look back.
Yeah.
Think about learning that lesson at 60.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you ever want to think about it in a positive light, think about, well, at least I got it out of the way young.
Yeah. I was in jail with a lady, and she was in her 60s. Like 62. And she was like, yeah, I had to do this now. And I'm like, I'm glad I got mine out the way, because I can't be old and in jail.
Don't let it define you, right? Like,
Absolutely.
Don't even, it's, it's great to be, that you're speaking your truth, but it doesn't define you.
Yeah.
It's not a felon is not who you are.
Absolutely. It's nothing to be proud of. Yeah. The stipulations that come along with it is just, I can't get a job so easily. I have to actually, show up, and then they're like, okay, well, sorry, we can't hire you. Like, I can't work in the medical field.
You'd be very surprised at how many of them have felonies. So just
I have to keep at it.
Yeah, I know judges with DWIs and DUIs.
What?
So don't, they knew how to get it expunged. They knew how to get their records sealed and stuff like that. So just don't ever discount yourself because of that.
Absolutely. So one more question. Okay. Any advice that you can give to people out there listening who might be going through something difficult with the justice system? Just any preventative measures or any sound advice that you have as a judge? I
would say, when they read you your Mirandas and they say anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law, it's true. So seek counsel if you can afford it. If you can't, there's, counsel that will be provided to you. Use it, right? I think a lot of times people go into situations that don't have proper representation. Mm-hmm. And that's, in the justice system, it can not end up well for you, especially we've seen with minorities what happens to us. So I would say seek counsel first and foremost. Secondly, I would say, and if you can't, there's places like Lone Star Legal Aid, Beacon Law Firm, who does free expungements if you qualify. And just, really just when we're in the legal system, I would say make sure you have counsel.
Gotcha. Yeah. So do your research. It's a big thing to be able to find those resources. Like you said, Beacon Law Firm.
Lone Star Legal Aid.
Yeah.
So there are people out here in different charities and nonprofits that help people when they get, involved in the legal system via whatever mistakes they may have made. But before you go to talking, just ask for counsel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So keep that in mind. There's always a way out. If there's a way in, there's a way out.
Yeah.
Simple. Goes both ways.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for this episode.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been fantastic. Keep up the good work and keep representing the East Side. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
As always, I'm your host, Always Am. Thanks for tuning in to Felons and Friends.